we as Americans like our modern conveniences, right? And one of those conveniences that unfortunately almost led to my death is the auto unlock that your car does when you put it in park. Who has that feature? Or have you not thought of it until now? Where you put your car in park and it automatically unlocks on the driver's side. I lived in DC, which this was the reason I moved back to York. I'd lived here as a college student and a few years after in the 2000s, and I lost my safety in DC and in life, my sense of security through this story. So I was sitting in my car in DC on the side of the road, and I was waiting for a friend to come drop something off for me. Put my car in park on the side of the road, driver's side unlocked. Didn't think anything about it. I'm a hyper-aware person in general because I've come from a traumatic childhood, so I'm generally hyper-vigilant, for those who know that term. I felt that there was something going on to the left side of me. This was on a busy street in DC at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. This was on Biden's inauguration in January 2021. So, not to get political, but I was in a pretty good mood. So I was sitting there and I noticed these two guys kind of going like this and, you know, like sort of loitering to the on the other side of the sidewalk. And I noticed it, but I didn't think anything of it. I'm sitting there, probably on my phone or something, and all of a sudden my car door opens. I don't know what's happening. I figured it must be a mistake. Somebody needs something. It was a young man. He turns out he was 16. He said, "Get the fuck out of the car or I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna shoot you, I'm gonna shoot you." He was like really kind of like doing that same kind of thing. It must have been the same people from over on the side. So they were just waiting for someone like me to be unassuming in my car with my guard down. The first thing that happens in my brain when he says, "Get out of the car, or I'm gonna shoot you," I have a memory from my childhood where I'm at home with my dad, and my dad gets a call that it's my mom on the Garden State Parkway. I'm from New Jersey, and she had been in an accident. She hit a deer, and the first thing my dad said was, "How's the car?" And I remember that as a child, 16 years old maybe. I was like, okay, these are my values. So the first thing that flashed in my mind when he said, "Get out of the car, I'm gonna shoot you," is don't lose your car. Don't lose your car. I had just paid it off, and that was what was going through my mind. So this was all happened so fast. I told him no. I said no. And I've lived with that decision every day since. And, you know, for some people it's cool, right? Like that well, let me finish the story. So I told him no, and he didn't know what to do with that. He started hitting me with everything he had, hitting me in my face, all over my chest, trying to pull me out of the car. He unbuttoned the seatbelt, and he tried to pull me out of the car. I had some cash sitting there that he took. And, you know, I started actually, to add a bit of levity to the story, I said, and I'm not going to say it, but I said, "Hey, you know who, on the iPhone, call 911, and it didn't work. My phone was sitting on the dashboard, and I kept saying it over and over again, and it didn't work. And he kept hitting me and trying to pull me out of the car, and the reason I risked my life was because I had called his bluff. He said he was gonna shoot me. He had his hand down his pants, one hand down his pants, and the other one up like this. So I called his bluff and thought he was doing that with the other hand. But I shouldn't have risked my life, obviously. So I ended up kicking him. Nobody was coming for help. I was yelling help. he was trying to pull me out of the car, and eventually I yelled for help loud enough that he ran away, and he was skipping and laughing as he ran away. And they did catch him. You know, he was caught for another crime. There were a lot of carjackings happening at that time in DC, and some people were killed. People were getting shot, getting run over by their own cars. So it really was brushed with death. And, you know, ever since then, that kind of opened up a can of worms for me because I hadn't dealt with my childhood trauma, and that brought it all to the surface. So while I have lost some things, I have lost a basic sense of security in the world. I've gained so much more self-love, and I went to therapy and actually helped myself and gave myself the love and attention that I've always needed. So, yeah, sometimes modern conveniences aren't always the best. Thank you.